everyone. Every year I'm always out there looking for a new spot. Some of this is just because what I enjoy about hunting is getting out in the woods, finding that deer sign. And the other thing to think about is most of these, federal and state public areas, they get clear cut, they get forested. Two of my spots in Ocala are they're marked for being clear cut. That could happen this off season. It could happen in 2 or 3 years. So you always want to have some backup spots whenever you're any of the areas you're hunting, so you're prepared if you go up there and nothing's there anymore. So this year I want to chronicle one of the areas. I've been scouting it for years now, and I've not really zeroed in on the best place or a great place to get some deer out of it. I have gotten some nice sized deer on cameras out there. I did shoot a 7-point out in this area. But I've never really found that really good hunting hole. And this year I'm back out there again looking for another good spot. I'm going to chronicle that this year. And I'm going out, put up cameras. That's what this first video is about, is really where I'm looking and why I chose this area to put cameras out. Then I'll put up another video that sees what's on the cameras, and I'll take you along with how the hunts go, what I'm seeing, even if I'm not seeing shooter bucks. Are there doe groups out there? There's some small bucks out there. So I'm just going to kind of make a series this year of this spot, and we'll see how it turns out. With that, first thing I'll do is I'll give you some background. As I mentioned, I did shoot a 7-point out of this area, but I'll just kind of run down how the area looks here. So I'm going to do that on the computer, and we'll jump in there now. All right, so you can see this is from about 4 or 5 years ago. And this is just, if you've watched my Ocala past seasons video, these are some of the deer from that. It's a nice 6 and 8. They're still in velvet here. And I only caught them on video this one time. This is really just a browsing area. It's not a well-used deer trail that they're just frequency often. It's pure luck that they happen to come by and trigger the camera and get them on there. So I knew this area had the ability to hold some good deer with that. So if you've hunted up in Ocala, you know that most of the roads, fire breaks, and jeep trails, they pretty much run on a grid pattern, north, south, east, and west. And this is just kind of a mock-up of one of those square blocks. It's about a mile by mile area. This center red dot, red star, that's where I shot the video that 6 and 8 in velvet. And down here is the area where I had pulled a 7-point out of as well. This area down here, although I did shoot the deer, I haven't been seeing much in the recent years down there. So I thought up here towards the top, I thought I'd do a little more scouting along this road and seeing what I could find up here. Now, in a lot of my videos, I talk about not just looking for deer signs, but looking for hunting pressure. Where are other people hunting? And you can use that to help you locate, the deer aren't going to congregate in high numbers where there's a lot of heavy pressure. So in scouting this area, I went along this forestry road that's running east and west here and started pressing in to see how many people were, how much hunter signs did I see in this area, and kind of go from there to see what was going on this north end of this block, since I hadn't hunted it yet. So here, I was just driving the forestry road, just checking out the areas, seeing how many people were cutting in off of this road, heading south into the area which I wanted to scout. Now here, area I'm backing up to is just an obvious pull-off. So I figured I'd park there. It's out of season, so I'm not worried about, messing up anybody's hunting spots. It's actually, late May right now. And go back there and scout the area, and it's not just looking for deer signs, but it's also looking how much hunter activity is back there. Now as you look, there's a dirt berm they put up to keep people from driving back there, and you can see it's well used, it's well been stomped down. There's a path there, and there's a path also around it, just from most likely more or less hunters cutting through there to get back and do some hunting. So that shows that there's been a lot of hunting activity back there, just on how the hunting berm has been pushed down. Now, as I continued on, deeper into this area, one of the spots that I came up on was a nice deer run that was crossing the trail I was on, and so I did a little time, took a little moment to investigate this deer run and see where it led to, and see what was going on with that. As I followed out that deer run, of course I came across somebody's ladder stand. They left it out there over the summer. Lets us know there's somebody definitely hunting there. Not a bad place to set up on. It's a good deer run. So that's just information. There's somebody, from the berm, I could tell there was a lot of activity being hunted there. And from the ladder stand, definitely you see where somebody's hunted. So I decided I'd push further back past that area, go back out to that trail off of the deer run, and see what I get to when I get far out there. I'm about 400 or 500 yards beyond that ladder stand. You can see things open up in this area under the canopy. There's just not a lot of underbrush. It's going to allow you to see the deer moving and have a little bit of safety for themselves. So now they just have to find an area where they're funneling through. As I went along, I picked up a nice rub line through here. One thing in the spring and summer, as they kill the trees from rubbing, it's easy to spot them from a distance away. You can almost dot and outline the area. I worked that one a little bit, probably a year ago. A fresh one from this year. Small trees, but there's not much option besides these small trees to do rubs on for these deer out here. So I just kept following this rub line. Kind of in a valley. We can look up there. See the terrain starts to slope upwards. Seems to go down a little bit over there. Here once again, I'm just, still crossing through this semi-open area under the canopy. Still following a rub line with multiple small saplings. Like I said, you can follow the rub line in the green up of the spring and summer because it's the dead trees that are sticking up out of everything. This is about 100 yards off. One worked really well right there. There's two more over here. Rubbed enough to essentially kill the tree. And back just behind me a little bit, there's a fourth one. So still walking this rub line. Here I went up to the top of that hill. Most of those rubs were down towards the bottom of it, kind of cutting along the valley. going parallel with the valley ridge at the bottom. Up here I was just looking to see if there was a spot where I could be on top of the hill in a stand looking down along that rub line. I'm going to, make my way a little bit further up this way, see what else is at the top of the hill here. So a little off the top of that hill, from where I just was, picked up a deer run coming out of some thicker brush. So I decided that I'd start my way back in on it and see where it led to. See if it was going to lead to some good bedding cover. The open area where I was at is definitely more of a feed location. There's no real areas to bed down. There's so much good cover in Florida. You're rarely going to have a deer just lay down in the middle of the day, at least, in some of these open areas. I've caught them on cameras laying down in an open area like that at night, but never in the middle of the day. So as we went further back in here, I also found another tree right over here. This one was a little bit thicker tree. It had some good rubs working on it from this previous year. And so those same bucks probably using the rub line at the bottom of the hill are coming out or going in at this upper area. As I continue to push on back, I was like, this is definitely some bedding spots. So I started looking for a good tree that I could possibly set up on where I'd be right on top of this deer run. So there's this one here. It's probably one of the biggest trees around. It's fairly straight, not leaning over too much. I'd set up on the left side of it so that little lean back would actually work okay. I'll have to do a lot of trimming of the branches, the dead branches sticking off of it. But that's one option there. One of the other things I'll probably do is most likely to bring a tripod in here, because this brush that you're looking at right here, it's only about 20-25 feet thick, and just on the other side of it is all that open feed area. So I can likely set the tripod up just in the middle of all that. So I said, what the hey, we're going to set up some cameras on this trail. Then I'm going to go back around and set up another camera just outside of all that brush so I can see what's walking this trail in particular. And also, so this is outside where I set up those cameras. As you can see, it's a fairly solid wall of brush. A couple areas popping in and out of it. So this is where it comes into the open area. I'll just pan around. And you can see it's fairly open. You get up in a tree stand and you can see down and in between all the cabbage palms here. And right here, a little twig, an old rub from this past year. So now that I had a spot picked out that I wanted to, do some serious scouting with the cameras and see how it was going to be, I needed to find an easier way to access it. So I knew that on the west end of that square that there was a logging trail I could cut back in on. And I found a slightly used deer run that would cut through and lead me right out to that wide open area where it was at the top of the hill. Once I crossed that, that's where I could set up my stand. So I'll let the camera sit out there for a while. I'll go out, check the camera, see what's on. I got 3 of them out there. I'll see what videos I can get off of it. And I'll give you another video updating on how things are going with that. Good luck out there.